Alan and I are going to be discussing this. It's big news.
69.
Alan cannot wait to get into this topic, but let's start. Let's go.
A freaking IKEA chair.
Disney Studios, Disney as a company. We've seen the last few years, the theme park with rising prices and dissatisfied customers. And I'll say this, I was an annual pass holder for a few years, right around like 2010 or so, I was an annual pass holder. Alan has been a pass holder in the past as well.
Mm-hmm. For much longer.
For longer than that.
And when they first started the $99 a year deal, up until maybe 5 years ago.
So Disney was one of those things. I live about 30 minutes. I mean, from Pasadena, I live about 30 minutes to Anaheim. 30 minutes is like what it says on a good day. It's usually, an hour or 90 minutes, LA traffic, but used to go there and it'd be like, hey, I'm an annual pass holder. It's a Tuesday. Let's go to Disney. I'll just go to downtown Disney. We'll have dinner and I'll go on soaring over California or whatever. Soaring over the world now is what it is. But that's one of my favorite rides. Please don't mock me for liking Soarin'. It's the smells and it's the music.
It's a good ride. It's a good ride.
It's a relaxing ride. There's never like a huge line. You can get into Soarin'. But look, I've been a fan of the theme park. But in the last several years, the prices have just become just insane. In addition to nearly everything else associated with the parks rising in prices, everything from food to parking to just upsizing or upselling on any sort of experience. In addition to the fact that not only do you need to buy tickets, you need a reservation to get to the park. And in addition to that, if there are specific rides that you would like to ride, well, good luck. Roll the dice and see if you might get into Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. It's not fun. It's not, in addition to that, you have diminishing returns on Star Wars. The brand is tarnished. Okay. After the dissatisfaction of the Star Wars sequels, I don't know that Star Wars will see a Star Wars movie in a theater for years or perhaps never. And the recent Obi-Wan Kenobi series was one of the few things I was looking forward to. Ewan McGregor reprising his role as Obi-Wan Kenobi, something that no matter what you think of the prequels, he was amazing in that role, and the return of Hayden Christensen as well as Darth Vader. That series left a lot to be desired. And most people, I think, disliked it. In fact, I don't even know of anyone that has defended it or said that they really loved it. Andor had mixed results. I've seen the season finale of it. I wonder what the whole point is. I think it's difficult to make a prequel because what are the stakes? We know the fate of the characters. They're going to live. They're going to die. What is the choice they're making? Marvel has Phase 4 has been incredibly dissatisfying. It's without argument the worst phase, quote, phase of Marvel, leading us to where? The multiverse? I don't know. But so you're seeing this incredible IP. I mean, this IP was gold. Marvel, Star Wars, and even the Disney brand at the theme parks, and you've seen it diminished. You've also seen exposed from Disney the not so secret agendas amongst activists within the company, which not everyone agrees with. Not everyone is down with this agenda. And Bob Chapek, who has run the studio, seems to have bungled nearly every possible major decision he was involved with, whether it be raising the ticket prices. The point of raising ticket prices at the theme parks was a way to have fewer people go to the theme parks, is to basically, reduce the demand by raising the prices. So a family of four, it costs nearly $1,000 for a family of 4 to go to Disney parks. Utterly ridiculous. It's the most expensive theme park experience that you'll pay for, while other brands such as Universal, which I'm very fond of, their Wizarding World of Harry Potter park is everything that Galaxy's Edge, the Star Wars theme area of Disney parks, wishes it could be. It's a full immersive experience. You can get butterbeer with a shot of Jameson. I don't know if you knew that, but you can. The rides are great. The music is great. It's everything from the merchandise to even like the so-called cast members working at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, like that park. They're like part of the world. It's a lot of fun. So the point is that you've seen Chapek completely bungle almost everything. In addition to the so-called "Don't Say Gay" bill, which is really about parental rights. Literally like, hey, before 3rd grade, maybe we don't talk to kids about some of these sensitive things. You know, look, I have 2 adult children, and they, you know, they were exposed to, and it's always in science class, right? They're going to teach your kids about reproductive system, how that works and whatnot from a scientific perspective. I was sent a note. I reviewed the materials. I had to sign a note so that they could even be able to be exposed to those things. Okay. This was not that long ago. How far have we come? And how can a company like Disney, which is supposed to be about families and children, how can they champion these things that most parents are not in favor of? So I don't know. And there's something in my gut, like to go to a Disney theme park now just seemed, something about it. It doesn't feel right with everything that's going on. Now, Chapek, who lasted all of 2 years with Bob Iger hovering in the background. And from what I've read, he's, it's almost like he never left. He was still manipulating things behind the scenes. Bob Chapek is out. Bob Iger is in. It is hard to keep track when you've got the 2 CEOs, both named Bob, but here we are. So what are the effects? What's going to change? I'll give you my prediction. Nothing. Bob Iger is the one that made the decision to proceed with the Star Wars sequels in the manner that they did, which was to reduce the significance of the legacy characters, to not reunite Han, Luke, and Leia. I'm an executive. I'm overseeing Disney. I'm overseeing the brand of Star Wars. You're making Star Wars sequels. I've got Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and Mark Hamill. They're going to be in the movie together quite a bit. Yes, we will introduce a new generation of characters, but we're going to sunset these legacy characters in a way that's respectful, in a way that you feel like you've seen their story come to a close, or maybe not. What's wrong with riding off into the sunset? That's riding off into the sunset. That's what they used to do in old Westerns. What's wrong with the Millennium Falcon riding off, across the stars? Okay. And you could have more imagined adventures of Han, Luke, and Leia. They're just not part of a larger story. They blew it. In addition to making the conscious decision to make Galaxy's Edge centered around the sequel characters that are not as beloved and as the original trilogy's character. I really don't think that people care. I mean, it's sort of that Galaxy's Edge. You could have actually had like someone dressed as Princess Leia taking pictures with people. You could have had someone dressed as Luke. You could have had Darth Vader. You could have had Anakin Skywalker. Nobody cares. People understand I'm at a theme park. You could have had characters from all 9 Star Wars films. Nobody would have cared. Doesn't matter. But I don't expect anything to change because the bad decisions that Chapek had to deal with were set in motion by Iger anyways. So while some see him as a savior coming in to fix things. I don't see much changing happening. There have already been rumors that Kathleen Kennedy will be ousted at Lucasfilm. Do we see that happening? Probably not. It would be very embarrassing. But what I have heard is that a screening of Indiana Jones 5 did occur on the studio lot and was not well received. It is not well received. And guess what? More of the same. Kathleen Kennedy with all of her like whatnot, like she's with wanting to add more sort of social messaging or overt social messaging in the Star Wars content that they're creating. If you think about it, she basically did kind of self-inserts in all of the things that she's made. Okay. Right. Let's go through it. They're basically all brunette women. Okay. The lead character in Rogue One, Rey, Phoebe Waller-Bridges' character in the upcoming Indy 5. Do you see a trend? Willow, we haven't talked about Willow yet. Willow is centered on a strong brunette female lead. Are they incapable of making anything that doesn't basically prop up the same kind of character every time? Every time? Utterly ridiculous. I don't see things improving. I think that in order to change things at the company, you would have to do what Elon Musk is currently doing at Twitter, which is to basically get rid of all the woke activists. The only way to do that is, he's basically, Elon Musk is teaching a master class right now in how to change the culture at a company, which is basically start over. And Twitter never went down. There were never any problems technically with Twitter, although people claim there were. I never noticed it. I don't think anybody noticed it. That was false. He immediately comes in, fires half the people, most people with redundant or BS jobs we didn't need anyways. A lot of them framing the trending topics, which is all about pushing some sort of agenda, right? All those are gone and no one misses them. Okay. And then just putting out real simply, hey, commit to working hard and coming in the office. And another 1,000+ people just resigned. Good. Do I see this happening at Disney? No. I don't see this happening at Disney. And I don't see a whole heck of a lot changing. But here's what's about to happen. Reality. Profits have been slim when it comes to theatrical. The streaming service is now as underperformed. And you have Avatar coming out and James Cameron basically saying, look, this needs to make $2 billion in order to break even. So, sorry about that. I hit my mic, folks. I don't see things changing. But what I will say is this, there will come a time where it will be necessary, 100% necessary for layoffs and making some drastic choices. And with regard to Kathleen Kennedy, who knows? Not only may she not be ousted, who knows? She may be set up to be running the entire thing. Is it possible that Kathleen Kennedy could be the new CEO of Disney? It would be a way to kind of kick her up the ladder, which is how the trajectory of most people's careers go anyways. They go up the ladder rather than being, fired for doing a terrible job, which as the shepherd of the Star Wars franchise, objectively, I think she's done a terrible job. Sorry to tell you that. I'm not alone in this thinking. But I don't expect a lot to change, but I expect you're going to see a slimmed down Disney. Alan, I've spoken for too long. Alan, I want to hear your thoughts because you are a Disney fan. Let me see if
I've been a Disney fan from it's like my early memories of.
Well, I mean,
Disney, yes.
You're a
You know,
fast
you can
food
see how excited I am about Disney in that
I
photo.
see how very excited you are
I'm
for
very
Disney
excited about Disney,
and the
and
Disney. But I want to hear your thoughts here on
yeah, you
all that.
know, when I heard that they fired Bob Chapek and then brought in back in Bob Iger, it's like, you know, you mentioned it. Bob Iger is the architect of where Disney is today, and Chapek was there to essentially not change course and to make things worse, especially when it came to the Don't Say Gay bill, and they just bring back the same old. My frustration is that there have been two instances where Disney radically changed for the better. That was when Eisner took over back in the 80s, and quite frankly, when Iger took over back in the early 2010s. You know, they brought in new energy, new life. And then what happened is Disney grew because of that. Disney became more popular because of that. And they began to bunker down with their stock prices. You know, they both became major stockholders, and they were protecting the value of their stocks. And that meant that they didn't care anymore about us fans. They cared about their pocketbooks. And to bring Iger back, I don't see how he can change anything for the better. You know, he said the right thing. I think in a recent interview, he talked about, you know, needing to restore good storytelling back to it. Well, you know, you were there when the storytelling was falling apart in the first place. So, you know, what does that even mean? You know, maybe we're mischaracterizing the guy. And the only way to know that is to see what happens in the next few months. Is he just going to do more of the same, do things out of appearances? Or is he going to go the route of David Zaslav over at Warner Brothers and make radical changes? And those were the two key. That was the one key thing that happened when Eisner took over and when he took over 10 years ago or 12 years ago. He made radical changes, and I don't think we're going to see that here. So I think there's definite pessimism on my part, and I think it's justified pessimism. I don't see how it is, and this idea that he's preparing, you know, Disney for an Apple takeover. You know, I don't know how true that story is, and B, wow, that would be a horrible move for the industry as a whole, and so for business as a whole here in the States. I am so not for mega corporations, and for Apple and Disney to combine. You know, that is the epitome of a mega corporation that needs to be broken up. And you know, I'm very skittish when it comes to saying, you know, antitrust and the government needs to do something. But in this case, I firmly believe that if this is true, the government needs to step in and keep it from happening. And I think you can. I think it'll appear that it'll get bipartisan support, but these guys, you know, they're paid off, and it'll happen. And I don't think anything good comes from these mega corporations, Apple, Google, Amazon. I don't see any good coming out of making these guys bigger. And you know, so I'm at the point where, like I was with the Los Angeles Dodgers. I was a big fan of the Dodgers as a child. My grandfather lived right down the hill from Dodger Stadium, and it was when we followed it. It was run by the O'Malleys, a family, and then when they sold it to Fox, that was it. It was like, okay, I can release myself from the Dodgers and go somewhere else, because you lose that feeling a big corporation has. And as long as I have been a Disney fan, and as much money of my personal money that I put into this company buying their stuff, you know, I'm feeling more and more like I can let it go and have no remorse or loss. You know, I haven't been to a Disney park since before COVID. I don't like the idea of having that I could go to Disneyland and not ride a ride that I want to go on, you know, and to be blocked out of it, and to have spent all that money. You know, before COVID, we were actually planning a vacation to Disney World. It was going to cost us about $3,600 for the three of us, and over half of that price was just the tickets, the Disney tickets. And I'm like, this is insane. You know, how is it that the most expensive thing, you know, other than hotel and flight and all that stuff, is just getting into these damn parks? And so, yeah, my love for Disney has really gone away, and just, you know, we've been talking out of our ears about just the poor quality of what Disney is putting out, and quite frankly, the only really good thing so far coming out of Disney was done by the guy who's now running DC. So there you go. I'm just so frustrated by this whole situation, and I just don't see it getting better at all.
It's what's funny is how we're able to see this very clearly because we're, you know, many steps removed from Disney, you know,
Yeah.
just as being lifelong fans. And you just see how obvious the obvious mistakes, and they're in completely another world.
Yeah.
Completely another world that's data driven. I will say this: you mentioned big tech earlier. Big tech, like for big tech, Hollywood is like the shiny object that they really want, like the shining star that they're going after, pouring tons of money. Look at what Jeff Bezos did with Amazon, right? Trying to
Yeah,
get
but at least he created it. At least that was something built within Amazon. It's not a hostile takeover.
Well, Apple the same way, right? Apple
Mhm.
created the Apple TV Plus. I've subscribed. I'm not currently a subscriber, but I have subscribed in the past to watch certain pieces of content. It's pretty affordable. It's like $4.99 a month. I've also gotten, they ran a promotion once where if you buy any Apple product, you got Apple TV Plus for a year for free. I forget what it was. Maybe I forgot what it was. Anyways, the point is that they are desperate to get it involved in Hollywood. Desperate,
Mhm.
both Apple and Amazon. So and it's been, you know, it's been mixed results, and there've been some highlights. You know, I happen to like The Boys on Amazon. I happen to like other some seasons better than others, but that show takes a lot of chances. I don't know anyone who liked Rings of Power. I feel like that everyone's kind of united in that. And Apple TV Plus has had some things really worth watching. I happened to see Blackbird. If you've seen the trailer for Blackbird with Taron Egerton, it's really good. It's Ray Liotta's last thing that he did. It's a limited series about a guy who goes to prison basically he can be absolved of his crimes if he goes to prison and can get some sort of confession out of the serial killer, because they just want to find the bodies. It's very good. It's very good. Let's go to your
Let me just say the question I have is, where's Walt? You know, where's
right.
Walt Disney in all this? He is the forgotten man, and you know, like I said, I've said it many times before. He was driven by not failing. You know, everything he had to do was about not failing, and Disney has gotten so big too big to fail, basically. And the heart of Disney, the heart of storytelling, the heart of innovation is absolutely gone. And it's sad because that's the man whose name this company is based on.
It was always amazing. I watched the Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights when I was a kid, and Walt was on the show. He would talk to you, and that's why I always loved going to Disneyland. I had an affection for all the rides that many would say are outdated. Like when you take the train as a kid, because I took that train. You take that train and you see that sort of expanse. It opens up and there's all the dinosaurs, and like as a kid, I was blew my mind. It looks cheap now, but there's so many little things about Disney. I love that they still have the tiki room with all the different. I'm surprised that hasn't been canceled yet, right?
Well, they did it at Walt Disney World, but the one at Disneyland is still the original that Walt put together. And you know, somehow the Haunted Mansion has survived for the most part. And you know, there are bits and bits that they're just taking away from. You know, when are they going to tear down the Matterhorn?
Right, or like the jungle ride, like there's but I'm surprised at the tiki room you can go there and you can get you know, you can get a Dole Whip, get a delicious Dole Whip. And so I like those old school kind of experiences. You know, you can just walk into a movie theater and see Steamboat Willie playing in theaters, right? At that little theater there, you can see the Hall of Presidents. You can see you know, but the tiki room thing is really interesting because it's all these different birds from different countries. They all have very stereotypical accents. I love it. It's we can't pretend that those accents don't exist. It's entertaining and fun. I love when it gets dark and there's like the lightning and you hear that's raining.
Yeah.
It's so many of those old school Disney tricks are just they just kind of figured out like how to do it, right? That's why they called them
Mhm.
Imagineers. And now it's you're stuck in a hotel looking at an app for 2 days. This Galactic Star Cruiser hotel.
Which was an Iger idea. I mean, he
It was
presented
an
it at D23 long before all this happened.
Okay, I have to point something out that my prediction came true. You can watch it was one of our first videos that kind of blew up on the channel earlier this year when we started doing live streams. I said that Galactic Star Cruiser hotel, it's not going to last. It's going to be turned into dinner theater. So you pay a fee, you go in, you get a meal, and you see a show, and you leave. The whole experience is like under 3 hours. You get your photo op, there's the gift shop, you have your meal, you see a show, and you're done. No one's going to be spending the night in that thing to pretend they're on a spaceship. That is an objectively stupid idea. And the dumb games, it was Clownfish TV that had the perfect description. They said it was like children's games you would play at a birthday party, like a kid's birthday party, little scavenger hunts and pretending. This is also another thing worth mentioning is the fact that there's so much app integration with a live experience. It's annoying as hell. It's annoying as hell. You know what? Take yourself to Knott's Merry Farm, Knott's Berry Farm. They change the name depending on the season. It's just rides, it's food, it's shows, there's a Western town. It's fun. It's like that's old school. And I think that we've lost that. Not everything needs an app to accompany it. And the fact that you cannot get fully the whole experience from the Galactic Star Cruiser without sticking your face into a black mirror, constantly looking at your phone is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. And I think part of it is that, to me, you want to you go to a theme park, you want to get away from that. You want to be wowed by something. You want to have an experience. You want to get away from your freaking phone. You want a vacation from it. Let's go to your comments here. But I'll just wrap it up by saying Disney's in trouble. It's not going to get better. It is not going to get better. And I see a lot of things. Some very tough choices are coming down the pike.